to improve would be much appreciated. If we can help, please let us know.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
My father-in-law's cousin was here from Lithuania, and they're coming up Highway K over by East Lowell.
Yeah.
And he says, Simon, did you have an earthquake here?
No.
That's how bad the roadway is.
Yeah.
Well, we were driving in West Virginia not that long ago, and West Virginia has awesome roads. I mean, it really is an eye-opener how bad our roads have gotten. When you go to West Virginia and you drive on their little windy little roads, and the only places that you found bad road was where they'd had washouts from the huge rains they had. And everywhere else, there were no potholes, there was no problems.
Not a lot of freeze thaw there.
I was gonna say, do they freeze and thaw there like we do? I don't think.
I don't know if they have tolling.
We didn't run into any tolls, so I don't think that they had a big.
This has nothing to do with highway, but what's their opinion as far as, I'm a National Rifle Association member. What's your opinion as far as these assault rifles? I'll tell you what, I read an article in the paper that this country is under more stress now than it's ever been before. And we're allowing all these assault rifles to come into these houses. I know people that are gun people, they have 3, 4 assault rifles because they're ready for battle. If something goes wrong, and we got some of these guys that go off the deep end, and they got access to these and all these killings, don't you think we should get these assault rifles out of the country and use them for military purposes only? Is that something that you guys could look into?
I won't, because I don't agree with you at all.
Yeah, I know.
I really don't. I mean, I just think the nomenclature of, and the design and build of rifles is something that, you know, on one day, you're gonna have 5 people in your office that are gonna say, this weapon, because of the way it's built and the way it looks, is an assault rifle, and on the next day, somebody's using a similar weapon to hunt deer. I mean,
It's a made-up term. You can't
Yeah,
walk into
it's
a
not.
gun store and buy an assault rifle because there isn't. You'd have to. They're
Yeah,
gonna be like,
no.
what caliber? What?
I know, but if you
it's a-
can't get it done with 3 bullets, you don't need 30.
Well,
And
Again, I don't-
these massive
no.
shooters, and you can see, I'm from Mayville. We just had a stabbing in Mayville. Beaver Dam had a girl shoot her boyfriend. We're under so much stress in this country, and it's gotta stop someplace. And I don't know, and like I said, I own $30,000 worth of guns. And yet, I mean, I don't really need them, but I got them. And yet, when these assault rifles are out there, that's just mass murder.
Yeah, you know, it's a complex issue. The legislature visited the issue this last budget. We put $100 million into school safety, and that was kind of as a direct result of what was happening not only in other states, but, you know, some of the incidents that we've had here in Wisconsin. I think that was a measured approach, and I think moving forward, it's probably something that the legislature will consider again. But no, I can tell you right now, there's like zero support within the caucus to make any significant changes related to firearms.
How would you like to be a police officer when you know there's an assault rifle looking at you?
Right, or
How many
any,
people want to be an officer?
any weapon,
anyway.
any weapon.
Yeah,
You
anyway,
have
but
$30,000.
it's all
I
over.
think when we're almost an hour over where we're
Yeah.
gonna be, we don't wanna go too far down this road, but I think you kinda made your point about the issue being societal problems and things when you said that there was just a stabbing in Mayville. There was a stabbing in Mayville that killed someone, but you want us to regulate guns to solve the problem.
Yeah, but why
I
are
mean,
we
that's,
under so
that
much
right there
stress?
is kind of the whole throwing your argument right on its head. It just is, sir. I mean, the problem is not guns, the problem is other problems in
What is the
society.
problem?
Well, we don't have
Stress.
time to define all the problems in society today. We talked about drugs earlier, mental health, all kinds of stuff.
We got 2 more slips here, so I'm gonna stick with the slips.
Let's try to get those finished.
Catherine Kleiber from Waterloo. Catherine?
Hi.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here. I wanted to talk to you about the broadband funding that's in the budget.
Right.
I'm hoping that you will make that funding only for wired broadband, not wireless broadband. The wireless radiation is being, more and more studies are showing that it's hazardous to the environment, it's hazardous to human health. The National Toxicology Program study just came out recently and was backed up by another study that looked at even lower levels, and they showed that it was carcinogenic. IARC is looking at, looking at the classification again in a few years. And already experts, because of these studies and the previous studies looking at carcinogenicity, there's experts calling for it to be classified as a carcinogen. So to pour a lot of money, state money, when we don't have enough, as we just talked about for the roads, into wireless broadband, which will then have to be replaced in a few years because it's already an environmental hazard, and then it will become official that it's an environmental hazard. Environmental meaning to all of us as well as to the trees and insects and so forth. Doesn't make sense at this time. The evidence is strong enough. Other governments are starting to take precautions. An Italian court just ordered the Italian government to start an awareness campaign about the fact that there's a cancer risk and other health risks associated with the use of cell phones and cordless phones. There's a new study, there's recent studies that came out in the last couple of years associating exposure to these fields with miscarriage and preterm delivery and cognitive and behavioral damage to children. So for all of these reasons, it's really important that this funding not be used for wireless broadband. It could be earmarked specifically for wired broadband. There are a number of other steps that can be taken, and I've put stuff together, information together for you.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope you will look seriously into including that in the budget, because it would be a very important step for, both protecting the financial health, but also the physical health of the residents of Wisconsin.
Very good, thank you. We have one more slip, Shirley Coles. Shirley?
I think they left.
Oh, she left, so, well, that's everything we have. Thanks, everybody, for.
One quick more comment, if I
Yep,
could,
go
please,
ahead.
on a completely different subject. First of all, I too want to thank you, gentlemen, for all you're doing on
Yep.
behalf of the
Thank
citizens
you.
of Wisconsin. And Mr. Jagler, you too were instrumental in getting those bridge funds to Dodge County, so thank you very much.
Oh, I would give him too much credit. I like that.
And just one other thing that's just kind of keep on your radar screen here is I serve on the Railroad Consortium, and I also had a long chat with Matt Umhofer from DOT, who's the Freight Advisory Council guy, and there's really a need for an intermodal terminal rail intermodal terminal in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin somewhere, that would take a lot of the heat off of all of these, hundreds of trucks a day hauling rail containers to those Chicago terminals. So, it's there are a lot of moving parts to even consider that, but at least wanted to get it on your radar screen that, this is something with, my company, we're probably shipping out 50 rail ocean containers a week that go to Chicago and go on the rails to wherever they're going,
Okay.
If that business could come to Wisconsin, with all the canners, with all the agricultural products moving, whey powders, milk powders, all this stuff moving out of Wisconsin to export markets all over the world, to have a rail intermodal terminal here would be a real boom to the state's ag economy, and it'd take a lot of the pressure off of the north-south corridor, and it'd be good for the
So
economy.
we build that, or the railroads? will
Well,
build that?
it'd have to be some type of,
sure they
if we
want
could get a
money.
class 1 railroad that's interested in it. I mean,
Yeah.
the CP closed the one in Milwaukee here in 2012, even though it was making money, but it just didn't fit their master plan anymore, but,
Okay.
where the money comes from is all,
Gotcha.
issues to be decided, but just the concept is there and it's real, and it could be a
Yeah.
benefit.
Very good.
How those pieces all come together is, yet to be determined, but, there is interest and there is impetus, so
Gotcha.
just something for, keep on your radar screen, so.
Okay.
And again, thank you very much, gentlemen, thank you. for
Thanks,
coming.
everybody, for coming today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.